Welcome to the third and last panel hosted by the Online Atlas Workshop. I'm Ilaria Gomarasca and I'm happy you are joining us today. So the topic of today will be to look into alternative opportunities in terms of distribution offered by Dispaora Festival and their initiative. So we are going to explore together the action launched by 4 festivals around the world for supporting the distribution of art house films. Please note that at the end of this talk, you have the possibility to ask any question, if any question rise up. I want to introduce you to Karim Aitouna, who is here in studio with me today, producer from Morocco and France. Welcome, Karim.
Thank you.
And together with Karim, we will be joined digitally by the representative of the 4 film festivals who promote and support films from the Arab world and the African continent. I wish to welcome them. Ana Camila Esteves from Mostra de Cinema Africanos in Brazil. Hello.
Hi, hello.
Hi, Ana Camila. And then we have Batu Larda, representative from Malmo Arab Film Festival in Sweden.
Hello, everybody.
Christian Muru, who joined us from Argentina, from the Latin Arab International Film Festival.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the invitation.
Hi, Christian. And Marion Berger from Festival de Cine Africano in Spain and Morocco.
Hello, everybody from Seville.
Hi. So maybe we can start the discussion talking about a specific case study linked to the topic, to today's topic. Karim, you are the producer of Poison Roses, a film who had a specific history in terms of circulation in the festival circuit. So can you tell us more?
Yeah, so hello everyone. Yes, I made a presentation of a film that I co-produced with my Egyptian partners, and it's Poisonous Roses by filmmaker Ahmed Fawzi Saleh. And yes, it's a presentation where I will focus in its festival distribution to try to give an overview of how the diaspora festivals could help the distribution of this kind of small niche production from the region, from Arab world and Africa. So I will present you this case study to give you some facts about its festival distribution, so we can also try to think together how to make it, like to develop this kind of initiative, to help this industry. So this will be my presentation, and so it's about, as I said, about Poisonous Roses, which was a film that we produced in 2018, and it was premiered in Rotterdam, world premiered in Rotterdam, where we launched the film. And as you will see, the film was like in 61 international film festival, and the major were thematic festival. Like more than 80% of this festival were thematic ones, and among these thematic festivals, more than 20 were Arab Film Festival, 12 African Film Festival, 4 Mediterranean Film Festival, and others, 8 other festivals. So as you can see, the 33 festivals were diaspora festivals around the world, and it's a very important ratio in this distribution. So the film was presented in many continents, by most were in Europe, and because also is in this continent where there is many diaspora, Arab and African film festival, so that's why in this configuration, the support of this festival to distribute our film was very important. And if we look into details, yeah, so it was in these countries, the film was showed in these countries, and we can see that in Spain, we got like more than 12 screenings. And it's amazing, like for like this kind of films, which are like not an easy film, to have like this number of screening in Spain. And even, for example, if we look into Germany also, like it was like 5 screening, and the 5th one were in thematic festival, Arab or African film festival. So the main distribution of the film was in this kind of festival, in the diaspora festivals. And so if we want to understand why this high number in Spain, it's because of the work of a festival which we are happy to have a representative with us today, Festival di Cine Africano from Tarifa, and because they have a very important initiative which promotes the African cinema, and because of their work, because of this initiative, which screen the films along the year in many territories with many organizations. I will let Marion present more this initiative. It's because of this initiative that the film could have this many screening in Spain. So, which means for us, for this film who didn't like success to have an international science and international like distribution, it was important to have this kind of support from Tarifa, which allows us to screen the film in many cities in Spain, in Barcelona, Ibiza, Murcia, like many cities, and to confront the film to new audiences and to new exhibitors. Like they work with the universities, with cinematheques, with public institutions, which was very important. And it helps also to have another source of income and revenue for the film, which was also very important for our case.
Yeah, for sure. For some films, especially, it can be a huge opportunity and crucial for the life of the film to have a diaspora festival, or in general festivals. They organize also all year around programs and and running festival in other cities. So as you mentioned it, I would like Marion to go more into details on what is Cine Nomada and what are the other activities that are implemented in Tarifa.
Well, thank you very much, Karim, for this study case, because it's interesting. I didn't know that Spain was a country where the film has been more spread in sprint. So it's good to have another feedback. So, but before going into detail about Cine Nomada, which is a real interesting thing to talk about in this frame of this roundtable, let me introduce very briefly our festival, because finally both FCAT and Cine Nomada are intimately linked. FCAT is an independent film festival organized by a non-profit association, Altarab, and it has been created by Mane Cisneros, is its actual director, in 2004 in the Strait of Gibraltar, so just in front of the Moroccan coast. And she created it because of the lack of distribution for African film in Spain. Instead of the very short distance there is between both continents, Europe and Africa. No? But the aim was not only to be a window for the cinematographies, but also to facilitate the spread in all the country. The problem is Tarifa is a very small city and in the very south of Spain. So to be able to reach a larger audience, we had to invent something else. And that's how was born Cine Nomada. So as Karim said before a little bit, I will explain you how it works. Cine Nomada, what it is, first of all. Cine Nomada organizes African film cycles at cultural venues mainly, and mainly in Spain, but also a little bit in South America and in Africa. I will talk about this later. We organize the cycles with all kind of non-profit entities as cultural associations, cultural centers, film libraries, festivals, cine clubs, museums, also university, as Karin said, but also with NGOs and other kind of social organizations, included immigrants associations sometimes, etc., etc. And how it works? Well, the key of everything, it's the film archives that we have been creating over the years, and that contains today about 1,150 films from Africa and the diaspora. Indeed, in each edition of Tarif African Film Festival, we selected about 70 films that we subtitled in Spanish, or at least part of them. And we proposed to the right owners to keep the Spanish version on deposit in our offices to make it easier for future spread. This doesn't entail any transfer of the rights. We don't buy the films, and for each screening request, we obviously ask for prior authorization from the rights holders, and we propose a screening fee. We have two ways to work. First of all, we respond to demands of the entities which contact us to organize a cycle. We assist them, if needed, in the selection of the films, and we manage all the rights and the shipment of the material. But we also have a more proactive attitude, proposing already made cycles, like thematic cycles. We have also a catalog of retrospectives. For example, we had retrospectives of pioneers of African cinema, or monographic about a specific country. Like recently, we proposed a retrospective of Sudanese cinema. And that's it. And so we also contact try to sell, it's not a good word, but to sell those cycles to adjust kind of more associations that we can. And to finish, I wanted to give you some number, maybe quickly, about the two last year. We count between one festival and the other because the catalog of film changed, so it will maybe be a little bit complicated in my explanation, but I will try. Between the FCAT 2019 and FCAT 2020, we organized 48 cycles, 214 screenings, and we moved 109 different films. And the year after, so in a pandemic context, between FCAT 2020 and FCAT 2021, we organized 38 cycles, 123 screenings, and we moved 100 different films. So the difference is not so much with the pandemic for a really simple reason, that those entities who work with generally, they had to spend their annual budget with cultural activities, and so we began to receive a lot of demands for online cycles. And it has been a real challenge because we were absolutely not prepared for those online cycles, but hopefully a huge part of our film archives was already digitalized, so we have been able to manage. And I have also other numbers, but maybe I will talk about them later, about the income that Cinemana generate, but I think I will give the floor back to Ilaria and talk about this later.
Yeah, don't worry, Marion. We will get back about it later because I have a question on it. Thank you very much for your introduction. And we shall move to Sweden. We have Batul from Malmö Arab Film Festival. So Batul, you are head of the industry activities. So maybe you can tell us more about it and also about the all year-round program in Malmö.
Yes, well, hello again, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I'm so happy to be here today to speak about the festival and the industry days, which I'm coordinating at the Malmö Arab Film Festival. Well, who are we? We are an Arab film festival, as the name says, and we are located based in Malmö, Sweden, south of Sweden. I can proudly say this, but we are considered one of the largest film festivals that are dedicated to Arab cinema outside the Arab world. We have been working since 2011, and since then, the festival come to provide a platform for Arab cinema in Europe, and we have started this as a small initiative. So the festival itself was a very small event, but we have came a long way, and we have undergone a tremendous development. And as I said, we are now considered one of the largest film festivals that are concerned in Arab cinema outside the Arab world, and the largest in southern Sweden, one of the largest festivals also in southern Sweden. Now we are preparing for our 12th edition, which is going to take place between the 4th and 8th of May 2022. We basically at the festival have two main competitions, one for feature-length films and one for short films. Both for documentaries and fiction. In addition to the many other programs that we are doing all year round, we have a lot. I mean, let me check my notes. We have MAF Tour, which is an initiative to bring the Arab cinema to audiences across Sweden, like from north to south, west, east. This project was basically supported by the Svenska Postkodlotteriet and started in 2014. We have reached since then more than 14 countries across more than 14 cities across the country. And now we have like Stockholm Film Festival, Gothenburg Film Days, Helsingborg Film Festival, and Luleå Film Fest, and all are under Malmö Arab Film Festival and organized by the organization. We also have the Arab Women Film Days, and this started in 2015 during the, or like as a way of marking International Women's Day. And then it turned out it became a mini festival in its own right. And the last edition was this year, 2021. I'm mixing up years now. Yeah, and what else? We have the MAF Iskone, and this initiative is, it's a project to promote access to Arabic quality cinema for a broad public throughout the Skåne region where Malmö is, through offering schools, public libraries, and associations the possibility to screen a selection of Arab films completely free of charge. Yeah, because MAF believes that the cultural life in Skåne ought to reflect the region's great diversity and the backgrounds of the people who are living here, because this area is very diverse and it has a lot of cultural backgrounds. Other programs that are still going on, Arabian Nights, like every other week, every Saturday, every other Saturday, we have this event in one of the cinemas here in Malmö, where we screen one of the movies that were in the competition in the last 2 editions of MAF. We have a small like mingle before the movie, so people can come, have a little snack and listen to live music, and then go watch the movie. And we have created in 2015 the industrial arm of the festival, which is the Industry Days. I think we're going to talk about it later with you, Ilaya. So
yeah, you can mention already you have found an important, or many founds, 4 founds, don't you? So maybe
yes,
you can mention.
Yes, in the Industry Days, we actually started with only 2 funds, but we of course grew, and now we have 4 funds. We have the Development Fund for feature shorts, for fiction shorts and documentaries, and we also have the post-production for both fiction and documentaries. And this would mark the the next edition is the 8th edition of MAF Industry Days. So yeah, that's basically
great.
It.
Thank you, Batul.
Thank you.
So let's move over the ocean and see what are the opportunities in Latin America for films from the Arab world and the African continent. Ana Camilla, can you tell us more about your action in Brazil?
Okay. Hi, everyone. I would like first to thank Atlas Bookshop for inviting me to be part of this panel and to greet all my colleagues present here. So, Mostra de Cinemas Africanos, which we translate to Brazil African Film Festival, is a new festival. Its first edition took place in 2018 in Salvador, Bahia. That's where I live and where I am from. And I co-founded and I co-curated with my colleague, Beatriz Leal Briesco from Spain. And our intention was always that it will become an annual regular festival. But over the years, we started to be invited to come to different cities in Brazil. So it naturally became a traveling festival. So before the pandemic, between 2018 and 19, we had 6 editions. In the north and in the south of Brazil, we went everywhere. And our main edition started to take place in São Paulo, where we found our best partners and supporters. So during the pandemic, we had 4 online editions with different partners in the whole country, and it made our festival grow a lot and very fast when it comes to the audiences and the visibility in the country. We are the first and so far the only festival exclusively focused on contemporary African films in Brazil. We never stopped since we began. We were able to maintain the festival over the years, which is quite an accomplishment considering our cultural scenario here, and I am very proud of it. We are known for that work. People invite us to different events related to cinema in this country. Because of that, the curators of international film festivals in Brazil and also the film critics, they know who we are and the work we are doing. And most importantly, we built our audiences, and they are very qualitative. They follow us everywhere. They're always excited about what's next. So right now we are at this really great position, considering we exist for only 4 years now. We actually came to see in real life how interested the Brazilian audiences are in contemporary African films. And we believe that's why the festival grew so fast. So in 10 editions so far, we screened hundreds of films, shorts and features, fiction, documentary, from all over the continent. We also published a good number of articles, catalogs, 1 book on African cinemas. We offer courses and several topics on the universe. And so we have been working hard to make all these films available for the most people we can. That's always been our goal. And the first thing we do is to keep the traveling nature of the festival. So we can go to as many places, as many cities as we can, with different partners everywhere. In Brazil, yeah. So we always travel as a festival. We bring the movies in our curatorship and try to get them as accessible to different audiences as possible here in the country. Beatriz and I, we curate for other events, both in our countries and abroad. We have festival partners everywhere. So it means our curatorship activities not only for Mostra de Cinemas Africanos. Right now, we are trying to bring the African films we screen here to the Portuguese-speaking African countries, since we have to translate all subtitles into Portuguese. And after we screen those films here, that's it. They don't go anywhere else. And we know how hard it is for such films to come back to the continent, especially those countries. So we are now working on finding a good partner to go ahead with this, because the colonial language is one of many things we have in common. So making this a good thing to share between us is what's moving us right now. I'm very passionate about this project. Also, I am in the beginning of starting a distributor of African films in Brazil. I have been working with some partners here in the country, and the landscape's not the best, to be honest. But we are thinking about ways of making this happen in a good format for every side involved. And there are many sides involved. So since our currency here in Brazil is worth nothing, and we need to pay everything in dollars or euro, and since the taxing culture here in this country is very abusive, since we don't have a lot of movie theaters in Brazil, which would screen independent films, we need to consider all this context to being able to make good use for everybody. And we are working on it, and I'm very passionate about this too. What we actually know right now is that we are the people right now who are taking contemporary African films very seriously in Brazil. And we do have a brilliant network here as well. It's growing every day, people who are willing to work with us and to continue to work with us in the next year. So we are very excited about what's to come. And I'm happy to share more about this with you today.
Great,
so
great.
I think that's it.
Thank you, Ana Camila. We will get back to this later. So the last representative today is Christian, joining us from Argentina. So can you please let us more know about the Latin Arab International Film Festival?
Hello, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you to the Marrakech Film Festival and Les Ateliers de l'Atlas aussi. I'm very happy to participate in this activity and to talk to you about the Latin Arab International Film Festival and the year-round activities that we also have. Latin Arab, it's a festival that's been going on for 10 years already. The next edition is going to be the 10th edition. We started in 2011. Organized by Cine Fertil, which is an NGO based in Buenos Aires, Argentina, which was co-funded by myself, and I want to mention Edgardo Bechara El Juri, who was my business partner and managing partner in Cine Fertil, and it's very sadly he passed away at the beginning of this year because of the pandemic. We have to regret that very, very troubling loss, and it's a very difficult year for us because of that. But we are still going on and planning the 10th edition to happen next April. So, as I was telling, Latin Arab was the first Arab film festival in Latin America. It's still the largest and the one that's been ongoing for the longest time. And it's not only an Arab film festival at the same time, it's a festival that intends to bridge and connect both Latin America and Arab countries through cinema. It's a competitive film festival. For a couple of years now, we've been having not only Arab features and shorts competitions, but Latin American features and shorts competitions as well, as means to making it a gateway for Arab cinema towards Latin America, but the other way around, from for Latin American cinema to reach also the Arab audiences. We have a touring program that reached 21 cities around the world, in Latin America, in Arab countries, and in Europe as well. Sometimes with the Latin Arab brand, sometimes as Arab Film Weeks specifically, or of a specific country, or Latin American Film Weeks, for example, in Tunisia or in Jordan. We hosted Latin American Film Weeks. It's in terms of distribution, and because as the other colleagues were mentioning, most of these festivals come to fulfill a void that we have in our countries for this kind of specific cinema. We all have very similar contexts in terms of screens and exhibiting and distribution ecosystems, which are very concentrated, limited and concentrated at the same time, and it's very difficult to not only find space for Arab cinema or Latin American cinema, but even for our own national cinema. So we have to fight for those little remaining spaces, and it's very complex, but we are managing to do it, creating networks and well, with a lot of partnerships that are letting us do that. In terms of our model for making it sustainable in a country like Argentina and South America, it's also complex. Most of the costs are in foreign currencies, and our currencies in our countries are plumbing it's been going on for quite some time. So it's complex. Sometimes we always try to pay the screening fees, and well, of course, we always make get the authorizations and so on. Sometimes the strategy is finding a partner with that could contribute with awards for the competitions, and that tends to make it easier to negotiate the screening fees and so on. And on the other hand, since the main goal of the festival and our organization is bridging both regions, through cinema, not only through exhibiting the finished work. Our whole goal is also bridging the producers, the directors, and knowing and being completely aware of the very long-standing connection between Latin America and the Arab world, very many times concealed, or sometimes we are not even aware of that strong connection that has been going on for 200 years between our regions, and there are so many stories to be told, and at the same time, very similar idiosyncrasies and sometimes very similar difficulties and challenges, and we find out that when we work together, it's quite easy to understand each other. We launched 5 years ago a co-production forum, launching a first open call through which we received 50 projects that will be done in co-production, both between both regions. We have 4 editions so far, through which we selected 50 projects. 10 of them are already finished. Many of them find the right partner in the other region to complete that project. The forum brings also support for the projects through awards that we can provide through different partners, such as Al Jazeera documentary channel, or sometimes the National Film Institutes that we get to onboard for specific editions. The forum has been held twice in the Mar del Plata Film Festival, which is the only A-class film festival in Latin America, 1 edition in Carthage Film Festival, and 1 edition in Ventana Sur, which is one of the largest industry events in Latin America. It's co-produced by Marché du Film.
Okay,
and the
Christian,
idea is
let me,
to have it 1 year in Latin American country, 1 year in an Arab country, and always to making it more balanced. And so it's an initiative that gave us a lot of a lot of satisfaction. And it brings us a lot of satisfaction when the films are being done and finished and complete, and sometimes premiere at our festival, trying to create a synergy and a virtuous cycle. And yes, basically those are the main initiatives that are being done by Latinara. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I must say I'm very impressed by all these action activity you're organizing and your energy for pushing the limits to the festivals even further on the edge of a distribution channel. So as Karim said previously, these are all great opportunities for producers. So my question for the 4 of you is, what are exactly your deals in terms of share revenues with the right holders?
I don't know if I am to be the first
yes,
one to
Marion,
answer this
please
question.
go.
Okay. So, well, as I said before, for each screening we organize in the frame of Cine Nomada, we propose to the right holders a flat fee. And, well, I can speak about Karim was talking about Poisonous Roses. It's true that it's a very good model for us because it's one of the films that we have shown the most. So it's generate, I think we organize, I don't remember the numbers Karim gave, but I think one of the reasons it has been one of the most shown films, it's because the film won an award for Best Feature Films. So that's true that this kind of films are the one who generates more income for their right holders. Just after the edition 2020, we also moved a lot of films till now, by the way, which also won for Best Feature Films in AFCAT. It is I Will Die at 20, and we have been able to organize 15 screenings that generated 3,300 euros. But maybe it's more interesting to have more general numbers, but which quantity of rights, well, of fees, of money for fees, cinema generate. Between FCAT 29 and 2020, cinema paid 23,540 euros in fees, and between FCAT 2020 and FCAT 2029, we paid 15,704 euros. I don't know if those numbers can tell something, but yes, it's basically the way we work. So it's a modest income, but I think it can be useful for those kind of films Karim was talking about, those fragile independent films that don't find commercial distribution in some countries. And maybe I just wanted to highlight one point. We work also with a lot of sales agents, and sometimes this is the difficulties we have for this, because the minimum fee set by a lot of sales agents is very often possible to pay for small cultural associations here in Spain. So every case is a new negotiation, and we don't have a fixed fees, because we have to negotiate in function of the kind of screening we organize and the kind of right holders we work with. So that for us is the main thing to say about this.
And what about Anna Camilla and Batul? Is the same? You have a flat fee, or what are your agreements with the sales agents?
Yeah, we actually, like, when it comes to the movies in the competition, let's say during the festival, we pay nothing for that, except for like some companies or some sales agents where we, like as Marion said, we go through this negotiation to see how much are we going to pay and so on. When it comes to different events, like the other events during the year, sometimes when we want to have the rights of the movie and on an authorization to screen the film, then we go into some talks and we pay only the fixed charge of the film. So that's basically it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically the same, but with some notes to it. Yeah, we pay the screening fees. We always pay the screening fees. And like Marianne said, it's each case is one case. Each case it's negotiated one way. We have amazing experiences with African directors when they hold the rights for their films. We have amazing experiences with them because they know, and I think it's important to mention this again, as Christian said, our currency is worth nothing compared to euro, compared to dollars, is worth nothing. So it doesn't even make any sense for us to speak about revenue from from the venues that we are going to screen, where we are going to screen the films, because they might have 300 people or I don't know 80 people. It's worth nothing when you think about euro or dollars. So yeah, we always ask how much the agencies or the directors would like to charge, and then we negotiate. And from my experience, it's been really hard to negotiate with Europe, very hard, because they don't really care if we are a Brazilian festival or a festival from Argentina or Colombia or wherever down here. So they don't really care. They charge the same, and we have been managing that. But the thing is that's important. We are also related to a non-profit organization. It's called SESC. They are our biggest partner. They actually sponsor us. since 2019. So we have been able to negotiate with this amount of euro and all that. But this is the thing. Now for this experience, this new project that we have in mind to bring back the films to the continent, I know the logic will be the same. I know they are going to charge in euro, they are going to charge the same. So it's going to be a real challenge regarding the money, the screening fees, and all that. But yeah, I mean, the bottom line is we do pay the screening fees always. We are not competitive, so this is also important because we don't open for submissions, and we don't have this logic of if it's in competition, we don't pay for the screening fees. We always pay for shorts, both shorts and features. But yeah, it's a struggle. It's a struggle, but it's been great. It's been great, especially with the African directors. It's been great. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Christian, you want to add something?
Continuing with what Ana Camila was saying, yes, it is a struggle from our countries, and even Brazilian currencies. It's not a competition, but you're not even. It's nothing compared to our situation here, and not only the currency by itself, but the difficulty of paying in foreign currencies. It's even expensive and very difficult to take our currency to pay something outside of the country. It's almost practically even forbidden, and we have to create very different strategies and alliances in order to pay the costs outside of the country, because it's and actually that's why one of the reasons why we are for the next edition, and given the experience we had last year with the online edition we had last year, and even though we are not even planning to have it all online, and we want to make it the most on-site as possible, we are thinking and planning to have the festival at the same time in different cities of Latin America simultaneously. And that it's, it's a strategy in terms of trying to reach as much audience as possible. But at the same time, really things are getting very hard in Argentina in order to produce anything, 50% of inflation yearly. It's very hard to plan anything. And even though with this kind of context, it's been going on for some time, and it's been some of the things in our negotiations, and distributors must be tired of listening to us. Hey, listen, things work kind of different down here. But still we manage, and even given that it's competitive and in negotiations, I mean, there is a standard. I mean, it's quite standardized, everything, and it all depends on the kind of distributing companies. We know which distributing companies, how much are they going to try to charge us, and there are tough negotiations. We always try to also offer, if we are going to pay less, different kind of services for the film that a festival can bring, such as most of the times we are the first or sometimes the second, and this is something sometimes we work around also with Tarifa, because for the North African films, we are many times the first festivals in the world that are subtitling these films into Spanish, and this is an asset. I mean, and subtitles, they cost if they have to pay for them. So this is a commodity that we can use also to negotiate. That okay, well, we can give you the Spanish subtitles, and you can use them in other festivals and so on. Also, many times inviting the directors also helps pushing the prices down for the screening fees, and sometimes it's easier to find the partners through embassies and so on to make those kind of things happen. But yet every year is different, because every year is a different budget, every year is different partners, every year is different films and different distributing companies. But after 10 years, we know most of them. We know how much they will expect, and we manage those expectations. And sometimes the kind of really majors, we try to, unless we have a specific support that we can find to pay a specific really big film, we try to avoid them, and going to the medium-sized distributing companies, or even to the self-distributed kind of films that we know we can discuss in a more friendly manner.
Thank you, Christian. I have another question that I think all of you can answer to. How would you define your audience? And also, how do you reach them? Do you have basically digital campaigns, or what is your strategy for reaching your audience?
Well, I think it's the most delicate question. No? It's always difficult to measure precisely the audiences, and I think I'm not able to define it precisely, but I can talk about an evolution since we began to work. And I think in general terms, we can say that the audiences both of CAT and Cinema Nomada have not only increased in number, but also diversified. When we started Cinema Nomada in 2005, most of our partners, and maybe all of our partners in this organization of cycles, were NGO. And that's what we wanted that our challenge was to change or to diversify these partners, and so to reach also a cinephile audience. And little by little is what we succeed to do. And now we have as many or maybe more cultural partners than NGO. And at the same time, we succeed to draw the attention of the specialized media to our festival. So I think it's very linked. And also, I think the evolution is obvious, because now there is a lot of other initiatives. Foreigner has an organization for spreading African films, and other festivals in Spain also. There is all African films selected in the International Film Festival, and there is also more companies in Spain who are buying African films. So it's a very good thing. And to come back to Cine Nomada, we are also trying to work with the student audiences. By the way, our headquarters are in the cultural center of the University of Seville, which and we are organizing a lot of cycles with them too. And we also work annually with two other universities, Burgos and Jaén, which have created their own African film events. And to finish, as I said before, we are also trying to work a little bit with the South American and African audiences. Every year we organize in collaboration with the Spanish International Cooperation Agency and a cycle, a selection of 4 movies, which is scheduled in 8 different Spanish cultural centers in South America, and also in the 2 cultural centers in Equatorial Guinea. And Equatorial Guinea, because it's one of the very few Spanish-speaking countries in Africa. We are working quite a lot with them. By the way, in the frame of the 2 days is International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women. They are organizing 4 movie screenings there in Bata. So general terms is what I can say about reaching audiences.
Thank you, Marion. Anna Camilla, what about you?
isn't it Badu? Batu? I can
No,
go
it's
in
okay.
the
You can go first. It's fine.
Okay. Well, as I was mentioning before, I am speaking from a Afro diaspora country, yeah, and this makes a lot of difference when we speak about audiences because naturally, Brazilian people are interested in African content in general. And the one specific thing that we do is that we are focused on contemporary African films, which means we are not focused on panoramas or retrospectives, Usman Samben and Jibril Job Mambeti and Mejondo and all of that, because we have this already. We've always had this. So it's like the African cinema is all about the past. So we are now focusing on that. So when we arrived with the contemporary African films, it was really amazing because people were so engaged. They wanted to. It was actually amazing how many people would come to the venues. How many people would stay outside because we didn't have space for everybody in every city that we went. So it's been quite amazing. And of course, I am a person from the communications. I am a producer and I don't know how to say that in English, communicator. I don't know. I work with communication from since ever. And of course, I could use all this information and all that visibility online, yeah, especially after the pandemic. Because during the pandemic, because of course we could reach audiences all over the country and all that we know. And even before that, we could use the press. The press were so, the Brazilian press was so amazed by that as well. I mean, who is this country? Who is this girl? Came from nowhere with African films, and everyone wants to watch it. So we grew really fast, and I think it's going to be even better now after the pandemic because it's still on. So, but after that, I think it's going to be better because I think the audiences are growing so fast. They are asking so much for the films that new partners will come along. We have propositions all the time to go to different places and to do stuff, but we always come back to the fees, right? To the how we're going to pay. Do you have money to pay for the rights? It's in Miro, etc., etc. But the point is, everyone is interested in those films here in Brazil, and it's a short thing that we know, and we work with that. We work on that, and it's being. I think the future holds even more, even a better scenario for us. Yeah.
Thank you. Batul, do you want to add something?
Yeah, well, for us, for our festival, it's, I mean, there's also this very much like a huge interest from the Swedish audience in the Middle Eastern, North African culture. And it's also very hard, like, to categorize the audience somehow, but like everybody here in Sweden is our target. I mean, you can see that there is a very like when we have a screening, let's say during one of the Arabian Nights, this event that we're holding right now, you can tell that there are sometimes more Swedes than Arabs who are coming to attend the screening, and it's very impressive because like I mean, I don't know if all of you know that there are a huge like Arab community here in Sweden, especially in southern Sweden, and it's growing very big, especially after the wave, the migration wave in 2015. So everybody is willing to know more about our culture, and cinema is one way to learn about the others' culture, of course. So yeah, it's basically Swedes, Arabs who are nostalgic to come and see and hear stories from their countries because it gives them some warm feeling, I don't know. And also children, because we're organizing MAF Iskone, which is also dedicated to schools, like schools are part of this program. And yeah, universities as well, students at universities, because when we organize some of our programs during the festival, we reach out to universities and we try to do events there for the students. Yeah, I can't remember. Like every single person here is part of our audience, I guess. And especially, like, I want to mention also this, since everybody else mentioned that during the pandemic, like in the past 2 years, our audience grew also because we held one hybrid edition and one completely online edition. And surprisingly, the rate was really, like, it really increased last year in 2021 because we had a platform and we had an online platform for the festival and we screened the movies online. So everybody across the country was able to watch that. And we also reach out to our audience through our digital and social media platforms, because all our events are live streamed, so they can reach whoever is watching anywhere.
Thank you, Batul. And Christian, maybe going more into details, would you define an age of your public, more the youngest or middle age? What would you say about this?
I mean, I don't know if I can put a range, but yeah, like you can see people from the age of 15 to the age of 70, maybe.
Christian, is the same in Argentina?
Well, it's pretty similar answer to the previous ones. It's mainly general audience, cinephiles which appreciate the selection of films and the quality of films that are being produced in the Arab countries. And I will say also that it's also a region that raises a lot of interest, and I think many people, they are aware, or they have the intuition about the misrepresentation of the Arab world that comes from the West and mainstream media and films and so on. And they also appreciate seeing the films made firsthand and the self-representation and the self-depiction that comes from the Arab countries. And I think that's also, and Latin America, both regions, and this is also one of I think things that motivate us both. And I think also what makes the festival and the connection work. We are both regions that suffer from misrepresentation and in a way epistemic violence from other models of representation, and having this space for films made by us and ourselves, representing ourselves. I think there is an audience that appreciates us, and that's why they keep coming.
Thank you. So we have time for a last quick question. I would like to ask you what do you think about the opportunity of exploring a way of possible collaboration between diaspora festivals? Maybe the creation of a common hub of festivals with films from the Arab world and the African country. What would you say?
For me, I will repeat something Christian said last time we met together. We already collaborate a little bit sharing Spanish subtitled films, well, Spanish subtitles. And I don't know why we stopped to do it, Christian. because I think because we don't see each other
that often, yeah.
That often. And it's a pity, I think, to make a real good network, we have to be really in touch and
yeah, sharing
Systematized.
subtitles
Yeah.
is a very good idea indeed, because you can use them more than once.
yes, and it make the costs very lower, because it's, for us, I don't know for the other festival, but it's one of our highest budget subtitling films. And later, us in ADFCAT, we already tried several times to make a network of African or Arabic film festivals, mainly in Europe, but for the same reasons, the lack of leadership or the abusing of leadership from one of the festival, it hasn't been very very productive, I mean. But I think, yes, we should try again with the new energies. And maybe we also have, as we are talking in the frame of Les Ateliers de l'Atlas, at CAT last year we created a new industry event, which is the CAT lab of post-production. And I think also when we already have a post-production lab, we could communicate about the project and maybe create something like, if a film is in one festival, it can go later in the other one. And that would help those films to get enough money to be quicker, in a quicker way, to get ready in a quicker way. Sorry.
Those are very good ideas. What the other things?
I guess we should start working on that very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we need it, like all the festivals and diaspora festivals. I think we need that, especially the ones like us. We're working with Arab cinema, like African cinema. So I think this step is very much needed. It's going to be very inspiring and enriching, and yeah, let's do that.
Okay, great. So let's hope maybe next year we can discuss about it directly in Marrakesh all together.
Yeah.
Karim, you want to add something at the end of this panel?
No, I want to thanks everyone for your for your involvement and for
generosity
to make this panel happen. And yes, I believe also that maybe Marrakesh Film Festival and Les Ateliers de l'Atlas could help to put this hub as they already doing it with some networks, cinema network in Arab world through NAS, and I think it could be very helpful to bring outside more Arab and African cinema through this diaspora festival. So maybe we hope to
we hope to be able to
meet next year in Marrakesh.
Not digitally next time. Let's hope.
Please.
Inshallah.
Yes, absolutely. I want to thank you too. Thank you for your generosity and for this energy also that you put in all those action who are actually helping films that otherwise will not travel that much. So you're offering them a circuit and an audience ready to see them. So thank you very much, and thank you for being today with us.
Thank you so much for that.